Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And on that side is Jason Cameron joining us on a Monday evening. Hey, Jason, how are you?
I am good. I'm glad to be out of the elements. It is raining cats and dogs out there today.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's been ugly out there. I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Dale Corey, earlier today. We had a podcast, and he said, "Oh, it's raining. It's been pretty brutal today." And I said, "Oh, how's the snow?" And he said, "Oh, not bad actually. We only had really a small little dump, and then the rain washed it away. And seemed like it's not coming back." I'm like, "Oh, that's good. That's good." Yeah, the rain sucks, but it's better than snow. So we talked for a little bit, and then all of a sudden we finished the call and said goodbye, and then he texted me about half an hour later, and I don't know if we can see this very well on my screen. Let's see if
it's the light. It's the light.
Let me see here. Crap!
I can't
the light
see it.
is just so bright.
The light, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Man!
You want to describe it to me?
Yeah, it's like a winter wonderland. It looks like.
Okay.
It looks like there was like a few weeks of snow dumping on him, and
okay.
he looks out and sees this suddenly. Yeah, that's crazy that it's just flashy. Yeah, but suddenly he just shows his backyard, and it's a full on winter wonderland. So, wow. He goes, "How long were we talking for?" Yeah,
I can tell that. Yeah, from the glare of the screen. That clearly everything is white.
Yeah.
There's a ton of snow.
See if I can post it on my website or something like that. It's just, It was crazy how much snow. Yeah, he sent me a picture a couple weeks ago, and they just had a quick dump, and there was things in his backyard, and the snow was piled like that deep, within like a few hours. It was, wow, I'm so glad I'm not there.
Oh yeah, so am I. Am I.
Snow can stay on the mountains. The North Shore Mountains look nice when the snow's on there. And if I really want to go, it's there. But forget about it being in the city. I don't need it in the city.
No, I don't need it in the city. But I know that they're calling for not a very good winter this time around for this year coming up. So I'm crossing my fingers, but I will be prepared. I'm getting the winter tires put on. I'm ready.
That's smart. Very smart. Yeah. Well, 2020, look how brutal the year's been, like I'm sure we're going to get just absolutely hammered with, the worst winter we've ever had the way this year's been.
You know what? It makes sense, right? It makes sense. So it's going to go down to minus 30. Yeah, it's going to be ice all over the place. It's going to be super cold. People are going to get, hopefully it doesn't get that bad. Hopefully it does.
I guess Dr. Bonnie Henry today said something to the effect that we're all going to be locked down for 2 weeks over Christmas. I'm not sure why they're waiting that long, but she's making it sound like she wants everybody locked down, not anybody to leave their house. You got to be just finding a spot, be there for 2 weeks, do not leave. I mean, I knew COVID was getting worse, and I was sort of dreading that kind of news, but that's what I guess supposedly she said today. So
okay, so basically what she is also getting at is everybody has a mandatory 2 weeks off. Nobody's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good for us because we already have those weeks off, so okay.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Well, no matter how rainy or snowy or whatever it feels, I'm feeling much better than Drew Brees is today. News came down today that he actually has 3 fractured ribs on one side, 2 fractured ribs on the other, and a collapsed lung from getting absolutely smoked in a sack yesterday. And I'm sure he's going to be in a lot of pain. And they say only 2-3 weeks recovery time, but I think that's very, very optimistic.
Yeah, like optimistic to the point of he's not Wolverine and this is real life. Yeah, you're not just going to bounce back from 5 cracked ribs or broken ribs and a collapsed lung. Sometimes I do wonder what the coaches think these guys are made of. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not that bad, Drew. You'll be good in a week, right? Right? No, I will not be good in a week. Come on, man.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're gonna, be closely monitoring him, especially, he's in his 40s now. Jameis Winston isn't Drew Brees, but at least he's not, some rookie guy that's, barely ever played. At least, he's got some experience. So it might, it might not harm them too much. They've had a really good start to the year. And a lot of people have been really complaining about Drew Brees' arm strength. He's been throwing a lot of, very short passes, nothing really deep. Maybe the playbook opens up a little bit and they can, take Michael Thomas deep, take some of their young guns deep. Maybe it's, going to be okay for those few weeks, month, whatever that he's gone.
Yeah, and also too, I guess that the new guy, that Taysom Hill, he's going to probably get some more run, but that guy needs to work on his fumbleitis.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Sure.
Like he needs to work on tucking that ball away and making sure it ain't going nowhere away from his body.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Big time. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's Monday Nighters going on right now. It's been a pretty interesting game. 13-all, Vikings and Bears. Kind of a lackluster first half. It was 7-6 for the Vikings after one. Vikings kicked off to the Bears in the second half, and Cordell Patterson ran the kickoff all the way back for a touchdown. It was an exciting play and an amazing athletic ability. Super fast. He was originally drafted by the Vikings, so he kind of shafted them tonight and said, "Hey, you shouldn't have got rid of me." But big play, really good. You mentioned fumbleitis. There's been a lot of turnovers. Fumble earlier. Adam Thielen. Let me see. Where's the deal I have here? There's definitely been a couple of interceptions. Who put the ball on the ground? Yeah, I have it here somewhere, but anyway, somebody fumbled. I think it was Thielen. First. No. I'm sorry. It was their. Let me see. Why am I having such a hard time finding that detail? But Adam Thielen got a touchdown. Somebody, I'm gonna have to find out those details about the fumble. But first fumble ever in their career, 137 games. First fumble. Thielen is wearing some cleats tonight to honor the late Alex Trebek. He's got some really cool things on the side of his cleats, and it was kind of neat to see.
As soon as you said that, I go, did he make cleats with like a Jeopardy motif on the side of his cleats? Because if he did that, that is super cool.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I've thought about it, they should make cleats like that. They actually should. In honor of Alex Trebek. You heard it here first. If you're gonna do that, though, give me some of that money, because that was kind of my idea. But yes, make a Jeopardy motif like football cleats in honor of Alex Trebek. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Sorry it took me so long to find this, but it was Kyle Rudolph, first career fumble, 137 games, never dropped the ball. But there have been lots of fumbles, lots of INTs. Chicago's defense is always really a force to be reckoned with, and a lot of you just saw that.
Yes, I did.
That was the Breeze doc that they just showed a replay of. Yeah, he's walking kind of gingerly there. Oh man. Yeah, I went through something fairly similar, but I didn't have a 350-pound lineman jumping on me this year. But man, cracked ribs really hurts every time you breathe in too deep. If you cough or you sneeze or you move a little bit wrong, it's pretty unpleasant. I'm definitely not. I'm sure. I feel sorry for Breeze for the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, man, I do too, and especially since he's only got 3 weeks to get better so he can get another guy to crack some more of his ribs. So, yeah, good luck, Drew.
Yeah. This game's tied 13-0. We'll give you some more updates as the night wears on. Why don't we turn to some of the action from yesterday? The Seahawks had another loss. That social distance COVID defense that they still seem to be employing is still not freaking working. Unfortunately, I think Ken Norton Jr. Should be the fall guy here. I don't understand why the Hawks are playing the type of defense they have. They've got quite a bit of great personnel, but honestly, they're not jamming the receivers off the line. They're giving them a lot of space to get up to speed, and they're just being able to find those holes in that defense. They've got a lot of – they don't have a lot of guys left from that Legion of Boom, but they still got a lot of good guys on that defense. But another horrible performance, and – they are setting records week after week after week for defensive futility. It's scary how bad they are. And another loss, a really disheartening loss. There's a logjam at the top of that NFC West now, and I don't know if they're going to be able to turn this around.
Yeah, the defense, like we've talked before, has been suspect all year. But unfortunately for this game too, the offense sputtered.
Yep.
Couldn't provide the spark that they needed, that they usually have been doing week after week after week. You have to expect that at some points in time, yes, the offense will do that. And so it's up to the defense to pick up for the offense. Yeah. And now the defense literally can't do that for this team. They cannot do that. And then you're right. Maybe the defensive scheming that Ken Norton Jr. is doing is just not working. Like he's not utilizing his personnel to the best of their ability. No. I don't think. I agree with you on that. And so something needs to change there to change around the Hawks, change the Hawks winning to the Hawks winning ways for sure.
Yeah. Jalen Ramsey, one of the top cornerbacks in the NFL, was facing off against DK Metcalf quite a bit. I'm not exactly sure why Metcalf was held in check so much. He was throwing the ball 4 times, only had 2 catches. Really was a non-factor. I saw him very frustrated quite a bit yesterday, and it's one of the first games I've seen him really demonstratively frustrated. But Russell Wilson is running for his life almost every play, and that offensive line is just not doing a good enough job to allow him the time to look around and find his open targets. He's running, scrambling, trying to look where he's got to go and stop from being hit, and he's dumping it off or running, for his life himself. He doesn't have that time to scan the field, find the open guy.
Yeah. Like his offensive line is porous. They're just letting the defensive linemen and the linebackers when they blitz just pour through. Yeah. Not good. DK, yes, he has the right to be frustrated, but so does Russell, because Russell doesn't have the time to try to find him. So what are you going to do, right? Yep. What are you going to do? And especially knowing that DK has one of the best defensive backs in the league, like covering him. So he can't just toss that thing up, like nonchalantly, or it's else going to be picked off. He has to know and see it. And he did not have the time to do any of that in that game.
Yeah. Russell Wilson has been in the MVP conversation quite a bit this year, but last 2 losses have really hurt, and he's starting to throw too many picks. Mentioning he's scrambling, having to run, but he usually, spent most of his career not making big mistakes like this. He had only thrown 1 interception in the end zone before the season. This year, he's already got 3 or 4 pickoffs in the end zone, and he's making some poor decisions on those throws. But you gotta bolster that offensive line a little bit, give them a chance to be in that pocket, or just move outside of the pocket one way or to the other, not trying to run and trying to find somebody there. So we'll see if they can get this figured out. I'm not very confident. That NFC West is actually the best division in football. 3 teams at the top right now. And Arizona has really emerged as a team to force to be reckoned with. Huge last second victory yesterday. And the guy you and I have been talking about, Bill O'Brien just said, hey, why don't you guys win it all? And I will exit the scene. And DeAndre Hopkins out-jumped 3 Buffalo Bills defenders and pulled down the victory. Kyler Murray had a miraculous throw off of the back of the back foot. But, wow, Arizona, huge win there.
Yeah. Now here's the funny thing. I was watching the game, and we were texting back and forth. I thought the game was over, and I was like, oh, man, the game's over. And I'm like, ooh, couch is kind of comfy. I fell asleep. I didn't see that. So when you told me that, I had to go back, and I had to look at the highlights and go, oh, my goodness, look at that. Now, during that play, you know what the Bills did that was complete stupidity? They did drop coverage on the guy that was, like, down, closer to the quarterback. Like, the DBs dropped down to cover him. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you do that? Who cares? That guy can be as wide open as he wants to be. It doesn't matter.
Does not matter.
Defend the end zone. Defend the end zone. That's what you got to do. And yes, Phil, the perfect pass, though, by Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins did catch that amongst 3 defenders. 3.
Yeah.
But then again, hey, Bill O'Brien, DeAndre Hopkins not that good. Gotta get rid of him.
Yeah, I've seen DeAndre Hopkins make a lot of great catches like that in his career. And, just another massive catch, just jumping, amongst 3 other guys, being able to haul that down for the win. It was huge. And Arizona is, they're definitely looking like a force to be reckoned with. D-Hop had 7 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. Kyler Murray, 22 for 32, 245 yards, touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns himself. That's 5 straight games for a Kyler Murray touchdown, and he's, is he ever looking great. Buffalo played great. They've had a really good year, but weren't able to hold them off. They got the touchdown to pull ahead with 34 seconds left to play, but Kyler Murray works the magic. Even on that play, he was hemmed in. He had to avoid a big sack and then came up to the sideline and then just heaved it. And, oh, man, it was beautiful.
I have never seen a man with such quicker, happier feet than Kyler Murray. Like, when he gets his feet moving, you're just like, wow, look at that. Look at that thing. And also, too, like you said, he was almost sacked in the backfield and managed to spin out and then just whip it downfield, man. It's amazing his arm strength and how he can do that. Amazing athlete.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Yeah, so that division is going to be really fun the second half of the year. Tampa Bay, massive comeback after that embarrassing loss last Sunday night to the Saints. They crushed the Panthers, doubling them up 46-23. I cannot believe how many guys had big games for Tampa Bay yesterday. They had Ronald Jones. Last week against the Saints, Tampa Bay only rushed the ball 5 times, and that was an NFL record. Never had been done in history, so little amount of rushes. Ronald Jones had a crazy game this one. 23 carries, 192 yards, and a touchdown. He had that 93-yard run through the middle there and got up to speed. I think they said it's like the 3rd or 4th longest TD ever from scrimmage. Super impressive game by him.
Yeah, super impressive game. And then also, too, Brady. Anyways, whenever – I think Brady has one of the best records ever for if he got blown out by 20 points, and then coming back and winning. Yeah. Like, he's that guy, which I told you before last week. And I'm like, you're probably going to make up for that. And then he did.
You're right. Yeah. 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown himself, which, that's a miracle because he can't beat my grandma. Yeah, he's so slow. But Godwin had 6 catches for 92 yards. Evans had 6 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. Braid had a touchdown. And Antonio Brown, he had 7 catches for 61 yards. Gronk had a TD. Just that, so many weapons there. It's crazy how much they have in Tampa. I heard Antonio Brown had a little bit of trouble. They just sort of released some news today that he had got into a fight with a security guard, and then he went and smashed the security camera that was looking down into the area where he had the fight. So there was going to be no evidence or something of the incident. But for some reason, the charges aren't going to proceed. But, just another black mark on this guy. And he just, he's just trying to get back at his career. And I don't know the exact date of this incident, but the news came out about it today.
Okay. All right. So he probably settled that out of court. Here's some hush money to make this go away. Okay. So this incident, we don't know the time frame of this. So this incident could have happened before he actually reported to camp, right?
Yeah. Supposedly, I think it must have been because I think I heard late October. So. Okay.
So let's give him that. All right. Because I'm pretty damn sure that if Bruce Arians even smells a sniff of it, I'm sure he's told Brady, just one thing, one thing, give me any reason, he's out.
See ya, yeah.
He's out because let's be honest, with the way that team is constructed, they don't need him.
No,
they don't need him.
No, yeah, I just listed off all those weapons that Brady has. I mean, he opens up lanes, obviously. You got to cover him, so you're going to have a decent defensive player to be on him. So, helps everybody else. But they quite frankly don't need him really in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So hopefully he can behave himself.
I sure hope so. Yeah, actually, that Jones run was tied for the 3rd longest run in NFL history. So. That's another weapon. They didn't use that weapon last week and they got blown out. I'm sure they're going to keep using him the rest of the year. The game coming up on next Monday night will be the Bucs against the Rams. So 2 teams that we've already discussed. I think that should be a really amazing game to watch on Monday night.
Yeah, that will be actually a very interesting game to watch because the Rams, they got a great defense led by Aaron Donald. So that'll be a very interesting matchup. Very interesting.
Yeah. Steelers won a divisional game 36-10 over Cincy. They're 9-0, first time ever. Big Ben threw for 333 yards and 4 touchdowns. And our man from Abbotsford cut another couple of touchdown passes, 4 catches, 56 yards, and 2 TDs. I don't know. Is anybody going to be able to stop the Steelers?
Well, I don't think this game was ever in doubt on how this was going to end poorly for Cincinnati. Poorly. And it did. Man, the Steelers just keep rolling. They just keep rolling on. And I'm not going to say that they're going to win 16 straight. I'm not going to say they're going to be the Patriots of old. No. But I'm definitely thinking they're going to be the number 1 or 2 seed going into the playoffs now. For sure.
Yeah, they sure looks like it. Joe Burrows was just okay. He's had a lot better games in the year. 21 for 40, 213 yards and TD. He does have really good chemistry with T. Higgins. 7 catches, 115 yards and a touchdown. But another lost year in Cincy, rebuilding, and Burrow's he's gonna have a great career, but. It's definitely not this year. The Saints won 27-13. We mentioned Drew Brees off the top. Massive injury. We'll see if Jameis Wilson and Taysom Hill can make up for it. They do have Alvin Kamara, who's looking fantastic again. He caught 7 balls for 63 yards and a touchdown. 8 rushes, 15 yards, but 2 touchdowns on the ground. So Yeah, he's a weapon. Obviously, Michael Thomas has had a really down year, but he should be able to come back. Do you see them dropping off significantly without Brees?
You know what? It depends on how they call their offense from this point forward. I think if they do a steady dose of Kamara all the time, they might be okay. Yeah. They might be okay. And when I say all the time, I mean you might have to run 75% of your offense to that dude.
Yeah.
Like literally. Because like Thomas is like you said, Thomas is having a down year. All right. But if you can just have Kamara rolling and cross your fingers, doesn't get injured, I think they can make it without Brees for the next couple of weeks. I think.
Let's hope. Yeah. Green Bay had a good win over Jacksonville. Jacksonville's had a really down year, but Rodgers was good. 325 yards, couple of touchdowns. He even had a rushing touchdown. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 4 catches, 149 yards and a touchdown. And Devontae Adams had 8 catches, 66 yards and a touchdown. It was, I mean, I guess, pretty, definitely Green Bay was favored and they won. So, not a big surprise.
No, not a big surprise. Rodgers did what he does against a team that they should win against. It was closer than I thought it would be, but at the end of the day, the Packers did get the win.
Yeah, exactly. Cleveland game, 10-7 win. Probably not a really great game to watch. I was pretty amazed at how much they ran the ball. Nick Chubb came back from injury. He had a big game, 19 rushes for 126 yards and a touchdown. And Kareem Hunt also had 108 yards. So 2 backs with over 100 yards. It's pretty incredible to be able to have 2 guys just grind it out. And did you see when Chubb ran the ball right near the end of the game? He had an open lane to go for a touchdown, and he just ran out of bounds right about the 1-yard line, so that they could just kneel a couple of times and the game's over. A lot of guys that are playing fantasy football must have just been, but smart move made by him.
Yeah, because he wanted to drain the clock and make sure that they got the win in that defensive battle between the Texans and the Browns.
10-7. Oh, man. I'm glad I didn't watch that one. I would have not been happy wasting 3 hours on it. The battle of rookie quarterbacks between Miami and the LA Chargers. Tua looked good, 29-21. Justin Herbert looked pretty good, but Tua, 3-0, and Miami's rolling.
Miami is rolling, and I got to tell you, man, I feel for the Chargers. How many games have they lost within 10-7 to 6 to 3 points?
Oh man, every game.
Actually, kind of amazing. Yeah. So that, and also too, if I'm a Chargers fan, which I am, it gives me hope for next year because they're close. Yep. They're that close.
Yeah.
But they just can't get over the hump right now. And I think with experience and with this year being like the hard lessons learned, I think next year they should be a force to be dealt with. But going back to the Dolphins, though, Tua looking fantastic. Fantastic. Looks like they gave him the keys to the team at the right time.
Yeah. A lot of people questioned the move and thought he wasn't quite ready, and Fitzpatrick was doing a pretty decent job. But, yeah, it's turned out really smart, and they've turned their season around. And after last year, they were just horrible. It's looking pretty good there. So, good move. Giants had a win over the Eagles, 27-17. Daniel Jones looked good. Both teams, 3 wins. Really neck and neck for who's going to be the best of the shittiest out of that division. And Eagles still holding on because they got a tie. Man, is that a pathetic division? I don't want to talk too much about those guys. I'd rather talk about some decent football teams. It's it's pretty sad. It's terrible that a team could be probably winning about 7 games maybe and winning a division.
Yeah, and make it into the playoffs, because I'm sorry, if you can't even get to 500, do you really deserve to be there? You know what I mean?
No,
Do you
yeah.
really? No, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. The Sunday nighter was a bit of an upset. The Pats beat the Ravens 23-17. Bad conditions there, definite rainstorm. I thought Lamar Jackson and the Ravens were going to be able to do it, but Cam Newton and the Patriots, had another win, and they're sort of looking okay right now.
Yeah. I think God gave them a gift. It's like, hey, you guys been beaten up quite a bit. Hey, how about I help you out a little bit? Make the conditions super awful. Like during that game, I swear there was a point in time on the camera feed where I couldn't really see the game because it was raining that hard. It was raining that hard.
Yeah,
so the conditions were absolutely awful, which is probably to the Patriots. That was to their advantage, clearly, because that's exactly what they needed to beat those guys.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see them talk about the two quarterbacks before. Cam Newton won the Heisman in 2010 and the NFL MVP in 2015. Lamar Jackson won the Heisman in 2016 and MVP in 2019. They definitely talked tons about those guys. But the Ravens, had a hard time getting anything going. That 17 points that they scored was tied for the second fewest ever with Lamar as a starter. They just had a hard time generating a ton. He threw a couple of touchdowns, had only 55 rushing yards, which is sort of low for him. But the Pats had a big victory there, and we'll see. See if they've turned this around. They struggled for about 4 weeks, but back-to-back wins, looking all right.
Yeah, man. They managed to get a big win over a fantastic team. So let's see where they go from here.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Raiders had a really great defensive effort. They won 37-12 over their division rival, the Broncos. They picked off Drew Lock 4 times, recovered a fumble. One of the most amazing picks I've ever seen. Guy, I don't have his name off the top of my head, but incredible one-handed interception. He just caught the nose of the football in his hand and just brought it down and turned around and run. Number 44 on the Raiders. Incredible. And to pick off Lock 4 times, 5 turnovers. I don't think in NFL history when a team's been able to get 5 turnovers they've ever lost. So that was it for Broncos for sure.
Yeah, man. And also too, unfortunately, Drew Lock was just trying to force the ball into spaces where he shouldn't be forcing the ball into. I think he was over anxious to try to put points on the board, because I believe 1 or 2 of those interceptions actually came in the end zone as well.
Wow. Jacobs looked great, always does. 21 for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. And they also had Devontae Booker, 16 for 81 for 2 touchdowns. So, huge game for both of those guys. It was, let's see, is that all what we've got? Yeah, it was, very good Sunday. A lot of fun, games to watch as usual. And, anything that we haven't talked about. Oh, I guess the Detroit Lions beat Washington 30-27. Matt Prater hit a game-winning field goal that was 59 yards, no time remaining on the clock. And Matthew Stafford was good. DeAndre Swift had a really fantastic game. And Alex Smith, it was his first start in a couple of years. We've talked a lot of times about his horrific leg injury. He had a career high of 390 passing yards yesterday. So it was a great game for him. But, Washington couldn't hold them off.
Yeah, losing effort. But, man, what a game he had. Yeah. He gave it all he had, especially considering the man almost had one leg.
Yeah.
For a time, almost was relegated to having one leg. So that's an amazing story for him, and it just it's a shame that they lost, but you know what? Washington's not that good. So,
No.
He tried to be a hero there. He tried his best, but trying to bring along a team that's just not that good, really hard to win.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah, well, that was a great breakdown of the NFL. There'll be a lot of really good games coming down the stretch here, and fun. I want to talk some basketball now. There was quite a few big news today in basketball, but I do want to mention our partners and sponsors first. I want to just be able to talk about Anchor FM. They are been a really good partner for Complete Sports Media, and they're really amazing at posting on multiple platforms for us. And it's the easiest place to make a podcast. So Anchor FM is the place to go. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in performance, technology, and value. And the V350 stick is a can't miss stick. Explosive power at 350 grams. Definitely purchase that stick and you'll score a lot more goals in your league this year. Pampas and Possibilities designs and sells dried florals and floral arrangements and installations. They've got really great handmade, curated things with West Coast vibes at reasonable prices. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company that grows and manufactures aloe vera-based products for health and beauty. And if you go to CompleteSportsMedia.com, you can find tons of details there, and you can purchase products at a discounted rate. So thank you to the partners and sponsors. So some really big news today in basketball. I don't know if you heard a ton of news. Did you? Have you been following a little bit of the NBA today?
Unfortunately, I have not heard. There might have been one rumor that I heard, but I don't know if it actually happened.
Okay.
Like involving Dennis Schroder.
Yeah,
right?
He was been traded. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he has made the move.
So
the Lakers get Schroder. I haven't heard who goes the other way, but the Lakers are taking on Schroder. So that looks like Kyle Kuzma will be probably exiting the scene, and Dennis Schroder will take that guard bench position and come in with the second unit. So yeah, a big move.
Yeah, huge move. Because that also kind of makes it clearly obvious to me that Rajon Rondo is out.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, good
chance. Have Dennis Schroder in, Rajon Rondo is probably out. But then again, he's probably going to go somewhere. I think he's going to be able to cash in because of his playoff success with the Lakers this year.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be able to go somewhere and get paid pretty well. Like since he's in the you could kind of argue that Rajon Rondo's in the twilight of his career now.
Sure, of course.
So,
yeah. Well, he had an amazing run and helped them, win this championship. He's going to be a valuable piece for someone. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll move on to somewhere and get a great opportunity to lead a team. And but Oklahoma City Thunder made another move with their guard today. They seem to be a farm team for all these elite teams. They have great guys, and suddenly they get good, and then, oh, yeah, let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of him, and let's get rid of him. Chris Paul was traded today to the Phoenix Suns.
Oh!
I was looking forward to seeing this reaction, yeah.
Man.
Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, and a first-round draft pick come the other way. And Chris Paul is now in the backcourt for the Phoenix Suns. And you have talked quite a bit about how exciting the Phoenix Suns are, how, they had that amazing run in the bubble. And, it's really smart of them to get a guy that's had a resurgence there in Oklahoma City and was able to, come in and play really well. And a veteran presence there, I think it will be a really good asset.
Yeah. Let's be honest here. Chris Paul is definitely an upgrade from Ricky Rubio. No disrespect to Ricky Rubio, but that's an incredible upgrade. The only thing that I see with that trade that's somewhat of a disappointment, but I understand why they had to give him up, was unfortunately they had to give up Kelly Oubre, because Kelly Oubre really did have a breakout year from last year. Yeah. And I thought him as a piece for that team really worked well with them. But if you're going to get somebody of Chris Paul's caliber, you need to give up something going back. And unfortunately, Kelly Oubre was that piece they had to give up. But Chris Paul playing with Devin Booker?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Wow.
ooh,
That's going to be.
I can see Chris Paul he is doing exactly what you just did. He's rubbing his hands. He's licking his lips going, oh, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good.
Damn, that's going to be fun. I'm excited. Yeah, that was a huge move. Really big. The NBA trade freeze has been lifted, and suddenly we're hearing these moves. The other big move that we're expecting over the next few days is James Harden wants out, and he's said he wants to play with only 2 teams so far. So what we've heard, Brooklyn Nets and Philadelphia 76ers.
Do they have enough money? Do they have even cap space for him?
I don't know.
And also, too, how many people are they going to have to give up to get that guy?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to have to go, well, there goes the team, but we got Harden?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, man, I can't even imagine what that would look like with the Brooklyn Nets. Harden playing with Durant and Kyrie?
How does that work? Can that even possibly work?
Because are they just going to be fighting with each other all the time for the ball? Give me the ball. No, you give me the ball. Give me the ball. Like, I don't know if there's enough basketballs to be shared if he goes to Brooklyn. It's intriguing to me, but I don't know if that can possibly work. What makes more sense if he goes to the 76ers?
Yeah.
And follows Daryl Morey, used to be the GM of the Houston Rockets, and now is with the 76ers, which makes sense that he would try to get Harden to come with him. That makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm not sure why Houston would make that move. I've heard rumors that Westbrook wants out too. I don't, why get rid of Harden? He's absolutely incredible player. Averaged 36 points a game this year, and just one of the most talented guys you got. So I don't know, unless he's said, I don't want to play here anymore, get me the hell out of here. I wouldn't make that move. But interesting information coming down the pipe today about that. Yeah.
You know what? It kind of makes me think, and I'm thinking off the cuff here, that a lot of that has to do with D'Antoni jetting from the Houston Rockets, right? Because all of a sudden he jets. That was the offense that Harden really shined in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's gone.
Yeah. And he's in Brooklyn now. And he's in Brooklyn now.
And he's in Brooklyn now. And so doesn't that make a lot of sense if you break it down to, so D'Antoni's with Brooklyn and he wants to go there. And Daryl Morey, the GM, the former GM of the Houston Rockets with 76ers, or he wants to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
I could see it being smart if they, you're right. If they have cap room, I could see it being smart in one sense that both Kyrie and KD are both coming off serious long-term injuries and might have to do a lot of this load management stuff. Might not be able to play out the year. Kyrie's been, injured quite a bit over the last 3 seasons, and he hasn't been playing a lot of games. So, maybe you bolster your team. You have that. They can, load management them. They can, play a little bit as the season wears on together near the end. But, I don't know. All 3 of them on the court together, I don't see it working very well chemistry-wise.
No, it's just not enough basketballs to go around for all 3 of those guys, right? Because a lot of, like KD, you could say he's not as ball dominant as the other 2, as Kyrie or James Harden, because KD can actually play off the ball very, very well. Out of those 3, he can do that. The other 2 really can't do that.
No.
They cannot do that at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but at least with your idea of the load management thing, James Harden doesn't even do load management. He plays every game.
Yeah, right? I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the other 2.
They're the other 2. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean, right? So if you got Harden playing every game and those 2 will just take the games off that they need, at least you always have a superstar on the court to make sure that you're always in,
Yeah.
So, but with the 3 of them trying to coexist together, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. It makes more sense to me if Harden went to Philly. Yeah. And that would make more sense to me. But if he goes to Philly, who do they keep? Do they keep Ben Simmons or do they keep Joel Embiid with Harden?
Oh, it would make so much more sense to keep Embiid, right? I saw that I saw the 76ers, and you and I have been talking that probably Simmons and Embiid won't move forward together, and they'll have to go in one direction or the other. And I think it makes sense to let Simmons go, get some pieces for him, bring in Harden. You've got the inside and outside covered. That could really bode well for a really good run in the East there.
Yes, it could. It could. As long as you get the pieces that you need to surround those two, they could work. It could really work. But like yourself, I just don't know about the Brooklyn thing. I just don't know. But then again, I didn't know about Russell Westbrook coming to Houston, and they miraculously made that work. So who knows, man? I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting offseason for sure. There was a couple more moves today. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope declined his player option from the Lakers and will enter as a free agent. They've announced that Kristaps Porzingis will not make the start of the season. His injury won't be healed in time. And DeMar DeRozan is taking up his option with the San Antonio Spurs, $27.7 million option. So, I think I would have signed that too. Kind of a no-brainer. But, I think over the coming days before our next podcast next Monday, I think there's going to be a lot of amazing moves in the NBA. And definitely for some reason, the NBA is the most active league for trades. I don't know why it is, but there's always reshuffling the deck. And suddenly, we start talking about the NBA in the off season. It's going to be the shortest off season the NBA has ever had. And I think there's going to be some really exciting things to see as this season emerges.
Yeah, because it's such a condensed off season that I think you're going to see GMs just be super aggressive with their moves and decisive by saying, this is what we're doing, that's it. Because they don't really have time to mull it over right now. Yeah. You don't have that time. You do not have that luxury. Because literally we have a month, and then we start the season again. We got a month.
I know. Yeah.
That's super quick, man. So yes, you have to be decisive and you have to be aggressive with your trades right now because you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's fun to talk some basketball. I wasn't expecting it, this week, but boom, all of a sudden a bunch of moves, so a lot of fun. I want to switch to the UFC, but I want to talk about boxing really quick before we do. Terrence Bud Crawford had a really big knockout on Saturday night. A lot of fun to watch. He wasn't seeming when he was approaching this fight in the first couple rounds orthodox. Just wasn't working for him, so he switched to southpaw, and boom, a huge knockout in the fourth round. Were you impressed by this fight?
Yeah, just slightly. Like, to me, I'm watching the fight, and Kell Brook is no scrub. He's 39-2. He's a former champion. He's an incredible fighter. All right. First 3 rounds, when I saw, I was impressed. I'm like, oh man, he's looking good. He's looking real good. And then, like you said, Bug just, oh, okay, I'll try southpaw. And then once he did that, it was almost like, oh, that's all he has. That's too bad. And in the fourth round, that was as sudden a KO as I've ever seen in boxing. It was almost as if Bud said, I think I'm done here. I want to go home. I want to hang out with the family. So I'm just going to dust this guy and be done with it. And it was like that.
Yeah.
And he was done. And I was just like, because I'm watching the fight and I go, what the hell just happened? Is that it? Holy shit. It was amazing. It was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it was cool because Yeah, they had the UFC early. It was an early card, and the UFC does that a lot. They're very smart. They don't want to go up against boxing because a lot of times they're both in Vegas. They pull an early card and come off the air just as boxing is about to start. And so yeah, we were able to watch some UFC, then some boxing, and that knockout was amazing. It was just like bam, it's done, it's over. Wow, okay, we can go home now.
Yes. I expected that to be like if there was going to be a knockout later rounds, 10th, 11th round, right? Because that's how good Kell Brook is. I didn't actually expect the knockout. I expected it to go the distance. And I'll tell you this, I was not expecting to go 4 rounds and then be over just like that.
Wow.
So the next step for Bud, dude, it's got to be one of the top upper echelon guys, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, people of that nature. That's who he has to fight next. But there's a problem. They don't want to fight him.
I see.
They don't want to fight him, man. Nobody wants to sign the sheet, sign the contract. So that's how good this man is that other really good boxers? Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, he's in the conversation for one of the top pound for pound guys in the world, and he definitely had a great showing there. And it's amazing that he can change stances and be able to have that much power. That was that blew me away. I thought you see guys change stances, but they don't seem to have that same power in that other hand. But bam, it was boom goes the dynamite out.
Yes, exactly. And also, too, not only just change stances, but to be just as good in your traditional stance and your southpaw stance. It doesn't matter for Bud. It doesn't matter. He's just as good, and he can make those quick decision making in the ring, and he can adapt to whatever you're doing and nullify it.
Yeah.
Nullify it. Yeah, he's an amazing boxer, man.
Yeah, no kidding. It was a lot of fun. I was really glad I got a chance to see that, and I'm glad you did too. It's been great. It's been some good boxing recently, and I'm glad it's not just being steamrolled by the UFC. We're getting to see some great fights and big KOs. That KO in the UFC with Chaos Williams was just like that too, eh? Just bam, just hit him, straight shot that just put his lights out. He was out, immediately. As soon as that punch connected, he was done. And I wasn't expecting Chaos to do that. He had a huge KO victory his last fight, but I thought he was, in pretty tough against this guy, Al Hassan. But no, he showed he's still got a lot of power.
Oh, he's got a ton of power. Like you had 2 guys going up against each other that are knockout artists. All right, so somebody was going to go to sleep. I just didn't expect it to be that quick and that horrific of a knockout. His legs stiffened up. When your legs stiffen up, that means you got knocked the hell out.
Yeah,
you got knocked the hell out, man. And that punch, that was a punch from hell, man. Like he brought that from way back.
He's not going to remember. He's not going to remember even being in the cage that night. There's no way. He was. I saw him sitting on the stool, looking around, like, "What happened? What went on there? I can't remember. Oh, holy cow! It was. It was vicious. It was amazing strike.
Yeah, man. I don't think he remembered the walkout. You know what I mean? Like that's that kind of knockout. That's what that was. It was as horrific and vicious a KO that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Chaos is going to get a good shot. 11-1 now, and his last 2 fights lasted 27 seconds and 30 seconds. So Dana White loves that kind of stuff. He gave him a big congratulations and shook his hand as he left the cage, and we'll see him very soon, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Williams must have got the KO bonus for that, right? You get the $50,000. Of course he did. Of course he did. Because he probably got that and a locker room bonus that usually is not discussed. But You knock out a man that badly. Dana goes, here, here's an extra
there you
money.
go.
Yeah. Keep it up.
Yeah, that was amazing. Well, that was the co-main event, and the main event actually turned out to be great. It was supposed to be Rafael dos Anjos against Islam Makhachev, but Makhachev was injured. Late replacement. The commentator ended up going in. Paul Felder had been not training for about 4 months. He said he hadn't been in an MMA gym for a really long time. Was really considering retiring. Has wanted to, maybe move on to his commentating career and move away from fighting, but once Makhachev got hurt and they were looking for a replacement, Felder put his hand up and said, I'll do it. Unfortunately, he had to lose 22 pounds in about 3 days. He said the Thursday night was one of the worst days and evenings of his entire life. And I was talking with some friends over the weekend, like, just imagine that you have to go into a sauna, you have to put on a suit that does not allow any air to be leaving it, and ride a bike in that sauna for probably about 5 or 6 hours. Pretty tough, but he did it. He called everybody out after saying, hey, no excuses. I did it. You better step on that scale and make weight from now on, you effers. And it was good, but pretty incredible performance by Felder. He even won on one of the judges' cards. I'm not sure what that judge was looking at, but yeah, dos Anjos looked good, and this is the weight class for him. He looked impressive.
Yes, he did. But this is one of those fights where I look at the loser more than the winner. RDA did what RDA does. That's what I expect him to do. But Felder, considering everything that he just put himself through, and that he was literally just training for a marathon, not for fighting, he looked freaking fantastic. Yeah. He looked that good.
Not just a marathon, but a triathlon.
A triathlon. Yeah. He looked that good. To me, that tells me the guy's got so much more to give. He should not retire. And he proved it to himself in that fight where he said, that's my love. This is what I want to do. And I'm telling you this right now. If that guy had actually had a full camp, the fight against RDA, I don't know if RDA wins that fight. Period.
Yeah, true.
Like, I don't think he wins that. I'm just going to go out and say, I don't think he wins that fight at all. That's how good Felder looked without a camp and having to lose 22 pounds in 3 days. And he looked that good?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, he was fast. He was, being able to stuff takedowns. He looked impressive. It's probably the best I've ever seen Felder look. And it was. I was not expecting him to have that good of a performance coming in and stepping in and taking that fight on such short notice and having to lose that much weight. It was. He didn't look super drained when he was in the cage. And to lose a fight in a main event, it's got to be devastating, but he definitely took a step forward in his career, not anything backwards.
Yeah, like I said before, some losses can actually elevate a fighter. That loss did that.
For some reason, they're hauling Nick Foles off the field. Let's see. I guess he takes a pretty bad sack here, and he's being carted off. Late in the game here. Chicago was trying to come back. They're down, I think 6 still, really late in the game, but maybe they're worried about a neck issue I see him sitting up. So
he looks like he's moving all his extremities.
Yeah. They're taking him off in a cart. 37 seconds left. 19-13 for the Vikings. And Trubisky's out tonight with a shoulder injury. So, I'm not sure what exactly is wrong with Foles, but I'm sure we'll hear in the coming days.
So they got the third stringer out there. Let's call him Dude. Dude's out
there. Dude is out there. If he engineers this comeback, it would be one of the most incredible things you've ever seen.
Well, you know what? Okay. If he engineers this comeback, I guess he can start for the next game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's marching down. 20 seconds to go here. They've got they got to score a touchdown. So yeah, maybe 2-3 plays to go. Okay, well let's touch base on a little bit more of this UFC card.
Yes.
What did you think of this Ashley Yoder Miranda Granger fight? Yoder took the decision there. Both very tall ladies, very very slight, and yeah, it was a really good back and forth fight. What did you think of it?
Well, yeah. Granger was the rangy. Well, I guess they both are pretty rangy themselves, but Granger was trying to do the stand up, but Yoder was very good at closing distance, getting her to the ground with the grappling exchanges, and just fantastic top control. Fantastic top control that she had throughout the majority of this fight, especially in the third round, which is really what won her the fight. So, yeah. Great win by Yoder.
Yeah, definitely a great win. Actually, before we move any forward, I do want to talk about RDA. He called out Conor McGregor after the fight, and Conor McGregor has agreed after Poirier, he says. They were actually scheduled twice to fight 4 belts before, and they had to pull out for injuries. So kind of great that he called him out, and Conor said, yeah, I didn't think Conor would, but he said, yeah, once I dispatch Poirier, you're next. So yeah, it was pretty surprising. And yeah, I mean, RDA, I think he's still dangerous, and I think he poses a problem, and yeah, it'll be fun. I don't think he's going to be able to just push Poirier to the side so easily, but
I'm just going to say this. Poirier is not the same fighter that Conor fought back then. No. Clearly not the same guy. So I think that Conor is not just saying, I'm just going to run through this guy. It's going to be super easy. I've seen Poirier in some fights recently that have been epic in proportion. So I hope Conor has his hard hat on, because that's not going to be an easy fight. I'm sorry, man. That is not an easy fight whatsoever. Should not be looking past Poirier.
RDA has actually now the second most fight time in UFC history behind Frankie Edgar, and he had twice as much experience as Felder coming into this. Former champ, really was a phenomenal contender in that division for years and years and years. And I didn't think moving up to 170 was a smart move by him, but yeah, back down. Yeah, really, fantastic fighter at that weight class. 4 years he was the champ. He got the belt at UFC 185 and held it for 4 years. So, how could that guy score at 48-47 for Felder, though? Were you pretty stunned when you heard them make that announcement at the beginning? That was the first card that they called out.
Yeah. Well, how about this? I was of the same mind as Paul Felder himself, where you could tell he was like, oh, I won a card. That's great. Like, honestly, like I was looking at that and I'm thinking to myself, no, man, no. There's no way that I could give him the fight. I'm sorry.
No. He fought great. He fought great, but he did not win that fight.
But he didn't win that. He didn't win that damn fight. You know what I mean? Like, he fought great, but not to win that fight. No.
The other two scorecards were 50-45 for RDA.
Yeah. So what are you doing? What were you watching? Were you watching a movie and trying to watch the fight and be like, yeah, I think Felder's got this. Okay, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I have to wonder about the judges, and I have to wonder, should these guys actually be judges? You know?
Yeah. I hope that somebody takes him to task. Chris Lee is his name, and I don't know much about him. It'd be nice to find out what other cards that he's scored, but that was ridiculous. That was just definitely not for Felder. And for the other guys to have 5 rounds to 0 for RDA, and for him to have 48-47, it's just brutal. We need to get better judging. Holy crap. that would have been such a robbery if RDA lost that fight.
Oh yeah, that would have been like really, really bad. like bad enough that RDA just goes, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to fight for a little while because that one really pissed me off.
Yeah, that would have infuriated me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was a catchweight fight between Sean Strickland and Brendan Allen, a late replacement. They had to weigh in at 195. Sean Strickland, Tarzan, man, he looked freaking amazing. Like, wow, this guy is a force to be reckoned with. Brendan Allen's no slouch, and he really beat him up bad. It was an impressive performance.
Yeah, took him out in the second and peppered him with the jab, picked him apart at distance, and then eventually just took him down, period. Yeah. Great win by Strickland. Second win in a row. And he's definitely back from that horrific car accident or motorcycle accident that he had.
Motorcycle accident, yeah.
Motorcycle accident that he had. Took him like a couple years to recover from that. And now that he's back in a big way. Big way.
Yeah. Just a couple weeks ago, beat Jack Marshman really significantly. Then, has been on a 3-fight win streak. Huge KO. He was just relentless. He rocked him, knocked him down, just swarmed him, and then Herb Dean came in, pulled him off. Strickland, we mentioned him a couple weeks back, and it was, wow. I'm really happy that he's, recovered that well from that motorcycle accident that almost cost him his life. So great to see him, coming back and doing so well. What else? There was this women's strawweight fight between Kay Hansen and Corey McKenna. And these are the two youngest fighters on the UFC card. And it was kind of great to see how skilled they were at 21 years old. Both girls looked very, very skilled, and it was a fun fight that went to a McKenna decision in the end. I actually thought Hansen kind of won that fight myself, but what did you think?
It was a super close fight. Both of them showed skills and maturity beyond their years in this fight. It was a fantastic fight. Like they were pretty even in terms of skill set and what they could do. Pretty even, man. It was impressive. It was very impressive to see these two ladies go at it the way that they did, and McKenna winning a very, very close fight. But like you said, it could have gone to Hansen too. Could have gone either way.
There was a really cool graphic that I have in front of me that they showed that night, and they showed the combined ages of the two women were 42 years old. And that was the third youngest fight in UFC history. Robbie Lawler's, I think this was Robbie Lawler's first or second fight in the UFC. He fought a young guy named Aaron Riley. This is back in May of 2002, and they were 41 years old combined. Robbie was 20 and Riley was 21. Nick Diaz had a fight when he was 20 years old against Jeremy Jackson in September of 2003. Combined ages were 41 there. And then Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler Robbie Lawler faced each other in 2004, and they were both 21 years old. And then finally, Max Holloway and Justin Lawrence. Holloway was 20, Lawrence was 22, back in August of 2012. So kind of cool. It was a really neat graphic to see, and brought me back to some of those great old fights. Lawler coming in as such a young guy, and Diaz coming in as such a young guy. A lot of fun. Those guys were super exciting and have ended up having phenomenal careers. Yes.
And you forget how long they've been doing this sport for. That's a long, long time to be fighting professionally, that's for sure. Yeah. And a lot of great memories that they provided everybody, all the fans across the world.
Oh yeah, amazing. Yeah, I mean, both those guys have just been in so many incredible wars and tons and tons of fun. Yeah, it's great. The feature fight of the prelims was Canadian Randa Marcos against Kanako Murata. And I didn't like this matchup. I thought it's not really a fair fight here. Murata's much better fighter than Ronda is at this point in her career. I think Ronda Marcus is a great fighter, but Kanako Murata is one of the class of the division, and it was a one-sided fight, a decision win there. It's too bad. Now Ronda's record is less than 500, and it could be hard for her to get fights with that type of record. So I didn't like the matchup.
No, she was clearly outgunned in this particular fight. Murata's wrestling is Olympic level. Yeah. You know what I mean? And as good a fighter as Marcos is, she's not at that level with Murata when it comes to wrestling. And that's where Murata dominated her, and that's how she got the win.
Yeah. Let's briefly just go through some of these other ones. Did you have anything to talk about with Tony Gravely and Geraldo de Freitas Jr.? Decision by Gravely, decision win there.
No, just that Gravely was by far and away the stronger, more physical fighter, and he used his wrestling base to get that win.
Yeah, no, I was kind of surprised how good of a wrestler he was. He definitely took it to Freitas, who's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but Gravely was just much better on the ground, way better.
Oh yeah. Like, and he controlled all the positions on the ground, and he was able to avoid anything that de Freitas threw his way when it came to the Jiu-Jitsu. Total control on the ground for Gravely.
The fight between Alex Morono and Rhys McKee. Morono, they said during the fight that he was a gamer when he was a kid. All he liked doing was playing video games, being on his couch playing video games, and all of a sudden realized he was overweight, out of shape, not doing very good. He ended up losing 70 pounds and becoming a mixed martial arts fighter and making it into the UFC. It was a pretty cool mention, and pretty cool to see a guy turn around his body and turn around his probably potential, length of his life, and looked in fantastic shape, and pulled out the decision win over a really game Rhys McKee.
Yeah, yes, he did. His combos, his combination striking for Morono was really, really good. He was fantastic. And also, too, an inspiration to those that are just, like kind of couch ridden, so to speak. Get off the couch, do something for yourself, get into some sort of physical exercise, some sort of shape. That's what Morono did. And then look at how far it took him. Took him right to the UFC. Fantastic work.
I think Rocky Martinez, that fought in the heavyweight fight before that, should talk to him. Man, he does not look like he's in shape at all. Oh, man, that belly was a jiggling, and he's tough. He can take a lot of abuse, but Don'Tale Mayes got the decision win, and I didn't think this was going the distance, but Rocky just took shot after shot after shot and just kept coming.
Yeah, I'll say this: Martinez is super tough, but like, if he wants to be the best, if he really wants to compete at a high level, he's gonna have to get himself in better shape. Really, he's really gonna have to get himself in better shape. Like, look at Mayes. Mayes had gotten himself in better shape for that fight, and he looked incredible.
Yeah,
physically imposing and dominating, and he dominated him in that fight. Now, if Martinez could do something of that nature, get his body into shape, I think he could really make some noise in the heavyweight division. But he has to actually get his body into shape to do all those things.
Yeah, no, he looked terrible. I felt bad for him, man. Yeah, he definitely got to lose that gut on him, and he could do some damage with that good of a chin. If you can take heavyweight shots like he took and not go down, if you have a chance. But no, I hated seeing somebody that out of shape fighting there. So great card, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting fights. This coming weekend is UFC 255. And there's 2 belts on the line this weekend on Saturday. Davison Figueiredo and Alex Perez will fight for the flyweight title. And in the co-main event, the women's flyweight fight is between Valentino Bullet Shevchenko and Jennifer Maia. Do you think Perez has a chance against Figueiredo? How do you think this main event's going to shake up?
The main event, I guess it depends on what wrinkles to the game that Perez has brought. Because Figueiredo, we can say this for sure, he's the one bringing the power in this fight. Like he's going to be bringing the power, and Perez is going to have to be wary of that. He's going to have to avoid the big time shots that Figueiredo is going to be throwing his way. Now, if he can be light on his feet and dance, I think he may have a shot. But I'm sorry, I'm going to give it to Davison. I think Davison wins the
fight. I don't see Jennifer Maia being able to beat Valentina Shevchenko, another one of those women fighters that seem kind of untouchable. Another notch in her belt. She's 19-3, and I think she'll be 20-3 after this one.
I couldn't agree with you more. Seeming as she's one of my favorite fighters ever. I just love the way that woman fights. I love the way she conducts herself. And also, too, the only person that really came close to beating Valentina is Nunes. Nunes. Or she did beat him. All right? That's the woman. Nobody else has been able to do that. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Jennifer, but you're not going to be able to do that either. Right. Valentina wins that fight.
Yeah. Well, the UFC did a really smart thing and put another women's flyweight fight on that card, and they've been getting smart like that lately, where they're putting same sort of top tier caliber fighters on the card just in case there is an injury, a late pullout for COVID or something like that. And the fight between Caitlin Chukagian against Cynthia Calvillo should be a really tough, great fight, and I'm looking forward to this one a lot.
Yeah, actually that's going to be a great fight because they're both high up in the rankings, and I think their skill sets really will show that, like, both their skill sets will show that it's going to be a close fight between both of them. You know what I mean? Like, they're pretty close. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to see exactly how that will turn out for both of them. Because I don't know. I cannot pick who's going to win that fight. It's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, I can't either, yeah. Welterweight battle between Platinum Mike Perry and Dirty Bird Tim Means. That should be a hell of a war. I hope Perry doesn't speak even if he wins because I don't like hearing what he has to say. But it should be a hell of a battle.
Well, I know that Perry probably won't have no coaches in his corner because he's different that way. But it's going to be a great battle. Tim Means is super tough, and he's not going anywhere in that fight. Like, Perry is really going to have to earn that win if he does get it. But I think Dirty Bird is going to be dropping some dirty elbows on Perry in that fight.
Yeah. Mauricio Shogun Hua faces Paul Craig, two amazing warriors. I hope Craig wins because I love hearing him talking that great Scottish accent. But Shogun, has been in a million wars, tons and tons and tons of experience. Should be an amazing battle to start off the main card on Saturday.
Yeah, it should be. But here's what could happen. We might finally see Shogun showing his age. Because at some point in time, that's going to happen. And I don't know what fight that's going to be, but it could be this fight. Because you have to believe that sooner or later, he's going to have to start winding down his career. And he's been doing this for, damn near 20 years?
Yeah,
so,
at least, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to be getting close. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. This is a super stacked card. I'm super excited about this. Even in the prelims, there's some really great battles. Brandon Moreno against Brandon Royval. Joaquin Buckley after that huge, incredible Matrix-type KO that he had a couple of weeks back, fights Jordan Wright, who's 11-0 coming into this battle. Man, I'm jacked to see Buckley again. I can't believe how fast they were turning him around, and he's back in the cage already.
Yeah, man. Well, but that, like we said before, this is what they're doing now. Like, hey, Strickland was just in the cage 2 weeks ago, and so now and he's back already. So quick turnarounds for these guys. They're riding the wave, you know. Like, hey, I feel good. I'm winning. Let's just keep the ball rolling. So, and it's cool to see that the UFC is working with these guys to do that for them.
I'm trying to pull up exactly when Buckley fought last. It was so recent, but why don't you talk about Valentina's sister, who's also on the card in the flyweight fight as well, and Tanina Shevchenko faces Ariane Lipski.
Well, she's a Shevchenko, so that means the other woman is in a lot of trouble, like a lot of trouble. If you get to fight, learn from one of the best women in the history of the UFC to ever do it on a day-to-day basis, yeah, you're going to be pretty good. I fear for Lipski. I really do. I fear for her health. I fear for her safety. I don't know. I think the sister takes that one for sure.
Yeah, she's I mean, both of those girls are incredible, and I can see Antonina end up, being as good or even maybe better than her sister. I've seen a lot of younger siblings actually increase and have a better career than the older siblings. So look out, Lipski. She's 13-5 in her career. She's fought a lot, but Antonina is on a meteoric rise, I think. And I think both Shevchenkos will probably both have belts at some point.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because they're both really that good. They are really that good.
Yeah, I wasn't able to pull up when Buckley fought, but man, it just doesn't seem like very long ago. That was only 2-3 weeks ago, and that KO just went viral. I tell everybody that I've ever watched fights with, like, holy cow, I think I saw one of the greatest KOs I've ever witnessed in my life. We're going to be able to see it all week because they're going to, put it on all the highlight reels when they talk about him coming in.
Oh, yeah, of course they are. And Jordan Wright's going to be like, well, he's not going to do that to me. That's right. He might just do something cooler than that. So just watch, So we don't know. But I'm super going to be tuning in to see what he does next. So
yeah, no, I'm impressed with this card. We haven't seen a stacked card in a little while like this. Man, there's probably 6-8 fights at least that I'm really stoked for. So I can't wait to break it down with you a week tonight. And thanks for this. Super fun to talk so many sports with you. It was really great to break down the NFL, talk some basketball. We got some boxing in, and we got to finish with UFC. Pretty awesome night.
Yeah, man, it's great talking sports with you, and it's great to cover a plethora of sports tonight because that's what we do, and we love what we do.
No doubt. Okay, man, we'll have a great week. I hope it flies by for you, and I hope you can keep dry. And let's talk soon.
All right, you betcha. See you later.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Bye for now. Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another Complete Sports Media podcast. That was a lot of fun as always with Jason Cameron. Very great expert on tons of sports and lots of fun to talk with. We had some laughs. We had a lot of amazing insight. And nice to be able to shift gears and get into talking about so many different sports. So hope you liked it as much as I did. Take care of yourself this week. Keep your eyes out on our website, CompleteSportsMedia.com, and our podcast platforms, YouTube. We've got a really great interview coming again tomorrow. I hate to call them interviews. Conversation tomorrow, another podcast with a guest, a longtime friend, Greg Kettner, and we're going to have a lot of fun. He is a blast. So keep your eye out. Make some comments, take some likes, tell your friends. Let's blow this up and make it viral. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. Enjoy. Bye for now.